magic mirror on the wall, who is the fairest one of all? Feel her name.
Lips red as the rose, hair black as ebony, skin
brown as chocolate.
Negra Nieves.
And you can die mad, bitch.
I can blow your mind. And tonight I'm alive in a dollar sign. Guaranteed I can blow your mind.
Hey, what's up, you guys? It's your girl here, Negra Nieves. You know, because in Spanish, Snow White is Blanca Nieves, which is like basically like white snow. So I'm her sister, Black Snow. You know, we have the same mom, different fathers. And today we're gonna talk about her story. And yeah, the weird kind of spirituality that's behind it. So, and stay tuned. Hey y'all, it's your Taylor. Welcome back to my channel. Today it's Makeup and Mythology Monday, and we're talking about Snow White. I'm gonna transform myself into Snow White's sister, Negra Nieves, Black Snow. So I feel like, what's the best way to start off Black History Month other than, you know, taking something white and making it black? So if it's your first time here, we're gonna do my makeup and talk about the origins and meaning behind a mythological story adored across the world. And again, all the podcasts down below. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe, and let's begin.
Per usual, I already did lip stuff with conditioner, did primer, color corrector, and then color corrector.
I'm gonna start on my brows. Okay, but today we're talking about Snow White. First, we're gonna go over the Disney version, and then the original version, and then what it all means. Fun fact: Disney's first animated film was Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, which came out in theaters in 1937. And I believe the voice, her name's like Andrea Costrelli. She was the last cast member to live, and she died in like 1989. And she was the one who did the singing voice for Snow White. Like she did the whole like, isn't it romantic? Like that was her signature thing. That's a signature for Snow White. So I remember this one really from my childhood. I think it's just like all the music. Like I remember the music. So we're starting off water reading. Just kind of annoying, but it's telling us basically, hey, this king had a queen who had a baby named Snow White, but the queen died, so he remarried, and the new stepmom queen was jealous of Snow White, and she was very vain, so she kept a magical mirror that told her she was the fairest of them all. And then she did everything to hide Snow White's beauty, putting her in rags, but even still, she was still good looking, and she was not happy about that. So her story begins with her asking the mirror, "Mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the fairest of them all?" And the mirror's like,
You, my queen, are very fair, but Snow White is fairer than you.
And she's like, what?
we get to cut to Snow White cleaning with the birds and shit, and she's singing, "Someday my prince will come," and then all of a sudden, like, she's singing there, and the prince pops up, and she like runs away, because that's what to do when you don't know strangers. You run away from strange men, okay, you guys? Always run away from strange men. But he's singing to her about how one day he's gonna come. And so he's just in there like, "Oh, I'm in love with the prince," but like he's gonna come back out, which is good. Then the queen's like, "Oh hell no, sure you got a fucking prince." So she's somewhere, I'm gonna guess she's somewhere between the ages of 16 and 18. Like, she's already got a whole damn prince. Like, that's wild. But yeah. So the queen's like, okay, Huntsman, I need you to go kill Snow White.
And bring me her heart.
And he's like, okay. Like, he didn't really want to do it, but he's like, okay, like, I mean, like, she is the queen. You know, Snow White's finally off cleaning duty. She's out there trying to chill with the birds and shit. And other animals. And, you know, she sees a shadowy figure behind her, and it's the huntsman ready to stab her. And she screams, but then he drops his knife and he's like, I can't do it. You're too beautiful. But please run away, because the queen's gone mad. She wants me to kill you, and just run away from here and never come back. So Snow White starts running like she stole something through the forest for the trippiest sequence I ever seen in my damn life. Even as a kid, it scared me. As an adult, it scared me, okay? The trees have eyes, okay? And the alligators are wood bark or something. Like, it's... Oh. I don't like that scene. It's scary. I don't care as an adult. As a child, it was scary. And then I'm like pretty sure Snow White had a panic attack, because I definitely most did have a panic attack. And I'm just watching. You know, I most definitely had a panic attack, and I am just watching. I most definitely did have a panic attack. But, you know, she's like, oh. You know, she cries out a little bit, you know, as one does with panic attack. Then the animals are like, she's like, I need somewhere to live. And the animals are like, oh, we know a cottage. They didn't say that, but like they guide her to the cottage. And she's like, who lives here? These 7 little stools and 7 little... She's like, there's 7 little children here. And then she goes through all their shit. When she gets up to the bedroom, lays down and passes out because, you know, she had a rough day. She almost got killed. She had ass tripped through the woods. Like, she's had a rough day. Like, she deserves a nap. And then we go to see the 7 Dwarves. They're mining for diamonds at their mine. And they're like, hi ho, hi ho, hi ho. It's home from work we go. So they get home and see the doors open. They're like, what the hell is going on? Why is our door open? Rightfully so, they are kind of scared. And everyone introduces around. They have Dopey go up the stairs first, and they find Snow White just laying there. And they're like, oh, she's so pretty. But the one dude, Grumpy, I believe it's Grumpy, that's like, okay, like there's a girl in here, like, the fudge, ma'am. And then she wakes up and she's frightened and she's like, let me guess who's who. Okay, I can tell you're bashful. It's funny, growing up, that's what my my grandpa would call me, bashful. Like, from Snow White and the 7 Dwarves. Little did he know, I'm not shy. I just have really bad anxiety, especially around authority figures. Fun fact about me. Anyways, eventually come to an agreement that, hey, if Snow White, if you clean and cook for us, we'll just stay here. Stay away from the queen, because obviously she done lost her damn mind trying to kill you, you know? Simple stuff. Simple stuff. And they're like having some little bliss just because it's like, oh, look, we have a new friend and she's pretty and nice and so smart. Singing to us about princes that'll come one day or something. Meanwhile, back at the castle, the queen's like, oh, yep, it's lit. I'm the fairest in the land. And then she asks the mirror. And the mirror's like, nope, you are not. And she's like, how is that possible? I have Snow White's heart right here.
He's like, you hold in your hand the heart of a boar. Snow White lives in the cottage with the 7 dwarves over the hills to the mountains and past the gas station.
He didn't say that verbatim, but you know what I'm saying. He's a snitch. Queen's pissed that Snow White's still alive. Cause she's like, she's still alive. What did I hire this huntsman for? He is trash. And then she goes into her whole witchcraft sequence, which I'm like, this is a weird flex of how you want to make yourself old. It's a disguise. Like, couldn't be me, sis. Could not be me. Cannot relate to that. Like, she's like, I have an old witch's cackle, which I was like, I feel attacked. That's how I laugh. Look at my hands, they're changing. Because Snow White would stay home while the Dwarves was out at work. Because obviously she lived in the castle all her life. She didn't know how to do much besides cook and clean. So she's going to stick to what she knows, which I mean, I get it. I stick to what I know too, girl. And that's what the best you can do. Just stick to what you know. That's what I would do too. Crazy. Anyway, they're gone away. She's in the house by herself cleaning up. Jolly as hell. And then suddenly some old ass lady comes to her face like, hey, do you want some apples? And she's like, no, I'm good. I'm good. I already ate a lot. But look, they're fresh. They're fresh apples from the gala. I don't know. Basically, the Ulster lady convinces her to eat the apple, with which makes her die. She ends up passed out on the floor, just passed out. Homegirl is down for the count. This is shocking, because when the Dwarves get home, they're so sad that she is dead. And one of my favorite scenes ever is when all the animals and the Dwarves chase the queen as the evil peddler up the mountain. And she thinks she ought to get away because there's like a big boulder rock on the mountain. And she tries to push it down on them. But it falls. But her ledge falls. And her ledge falls. And she falls off the ledge being crushed. And the vulture's just in there like the vulture's happy as hell. The vultures is happy as hell. And I won't be too honestly. I mean, that's what they wanted. They wanted to get in there and get some dead carcass. Come back to the castle, and you know, Snow White's still laying there dead as hell. She's still dead, y'all. And they're like, okay, well, I guess we have to bury her because, like, you know, she's dead. Okay, what are we gonna do with her? They had a funeral procession. They had a funeral procession in her honor. You know, because she's like all dead and stuff. But they could, like, they said she was so beautiful that they could not stand to bury her. So because of that reason, they put her in a glass coffin, to where she could be seen by all visitors, and it was like had her name on there, and it was known that she was the princess, and this is where she lies. You know where people do the most when their people die, you know what I'm saying? So she's like a fancy tomb in the hills. And so this is all by narration, actually, by the way, too. By like they made us read a lot more. We guys do a whole lot of fucking reading. There's a prince, you know, remember from the beginning of the story, remember from our intro, who heard about this girl asleep and could only be waking with true love's kiss. It's like weird because the spell the queen does is like the sleeping death. So I guess maybe people know witchcraft maybe then. I know the cure for it is true love's kiss. So I don't know if the dwarves know that, and he wants to see, since he's a prince, can he break the curse? You know, they let him take his shot, lift up the glass coffin, and lo and behold, Snow White wakes up and everyone's all happy. And they're playing "Someday, My Prince." Well, he's like, they're saying that song. It's like he's already, it's present tense. He just got there. And it's really cute at the end, you know. Dwarves don't know she has to go live with her man now. They do a little sequence where, you know, she kissed them all goodbye on the forehead, and then y'all start blushing, and then, you know, since she's been asleep for a long time, she can't walk. So the prince just has her ride on the horse while he walks beside the horse. And they ride to the sunset and live happily ever after. Honestly, doesn't it just feel like Snow White is just being beauty, but with 7 dwarves and like an evil stepmom? And you may get that vibe because it's written by the same people. So the people who brought you Hansel and Gretel. The original story is by the Grimm brothers. The Grimm brothers, who give us a lot of our fairy tale classics. And again, like in Hansel and Gretel, the original story was supposed to be her mom actually poisoning her and stuff, but they changed it to the evil stepmom because, you know, no one likes evil stepmoms, like, at all. So in the Grimm's version, was the final version that we know was published in 1857, and then the Dwarves filmed this version, but the Dwarves didn't receive names until the Broadway version made in 1912. But in their version, it starts off quite innocently. There is a queen who is sitting at her windowsill during the snow in the midwinter, and she is sewing something, as you know, queens do sometimes. They need hobbies as well, get bored being all royal and stuff. And she's sitting on a window frame black as ebony. And then she ends up pricking her finger on the needle. And 3 little droplets fall into the snow by her. And, you know, she just goes, wow, this is so beautiful. One day I hope to have a daughter who has skin as white as snow, lips red as a rose, and hair black as ebony. You know, it doesn't actually close to ebony color, but anyways. And then, upon her luck, then the next year, she ended up having a daughter with those exact same characteristics that she wanted. But sadly enough, she died during childbirth, which was common back then. So a year or 2 later, the king remarried a beautiful woman, but very jealous and very vain woman, who was very into herself and obsessed with being the prettiest. For what, we don't know really, because like really what did she gain from it? We don't really know, but you know, that's what she wanted, to be the fairest in the land. And she was, until Snow White actually turned 7. So in the original story, she is 7 years old. She is a prepubescent child. So you have a grown-ass woman hating on a prepubescent, like, I couldn't be me, sis, could not be me, hating on a prepubescent child. Like, of course she's gonna be cute. Everyone is cute before they hit puberty. Like, everyone is cute. Like, you dumbass hoe. But yeah, so she's upset that when she goes, mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the fairest of them all? It goes, Snow White is fairer than you. And she's like, okay, fuck that. And tells the huntsman to bring, this time it's actually to bring, so yeah, because the queen is so damn envious of a damn 7-year-old, she has the huntsman bring her, says like, hey, kill her and bring her, bring me her heart and lungs so I can eat them, because she's fucking demented. Like, who, I feel like that will never not piss me off. Like, she's a child. She is a child. You are an adult. You, like, she don't even have titties yet. Like, what are you so jealous about? I don't understand. But you know what? Woosah, because I just don't get it. But So the huntsman tries to go kill Snow White because that was his job. He has a job to do for the queen who's lost her damn mind. But of course, since she's so beautiful and so small, because she's only fucking 7 years motherfucking old, he can't kill her. And he's like, girl, run off. Don't come back. Because that queen is crazy. That queen is crazy. And so she runs off. The huntsman's just like, okay, like, I feel bad because she's probably going to get eaten by the animals, but, like, my job's done. Let me bring this crazy queen a heart and a lung of something else. So he got a boar, killed it, and gave the queen its heart and lungs, and she boiled them with salt and ate them because she is a strange witch. Luckily, Snow White doesn't die. The animals will help her out, and they're like, oh, here's a cottage here. There's a little cottage here. You can hang out with these guys. Or no one's there, so they just were like, okay. She sees little food there. She's hungry. Again, she's 7. So she eats their food and drinks their drinks and then goes to bed upstairs. The dwarves come home again and see, like, hey, who's been in here? What's going on? Clear the light. It's just little Snow White who is frightened, but she's like, they're like, oh, okay, like, can you, like, you know, we know you're running away from the queen. That queen's fucking nuts. As long as you stay here, can you clean our house? And we're good to go. And then she was like, yeah, like, I mean, what else am I really gonna do? Because I am 7-year-old and have no skills. Yo, Mirror on the who's first of all, he's like, yo, it's still Snow White. But she's like, I killed her. I ate her heart and her lungs. And he's like, nope. Was the heart of a boar. And she lives in the cottage with the 7 dwarves. She's still alive. You're not the fairest in the land. Ha ha ha. Ha ha ha. And of course, she is not with that. She's like, oh. She's alive, eh? I put on a disguise. People don't know that I'm gonna go kill a 7-year-old. To fit my own jealous desires. But yeah, so she does do some sort of old peddler's costume and like witchcraft. And she does like 3 attempts. Like 3 attempts to get Snow White to die, the sleeping death or whatever. First attempt is like she's like, oh look, do you want to be slimmer? Oh, like when you grow up you wear these like waist corsets. Gives that to her, and little Snow White passes out. But when the dwarves come home, they resuscitate her and they're like, okay, she's still alive. Cool. Comes back a second time and she gives her a comb to get the rats out her hair. And the comb is poisonous. So again, Snow White passes out, but then the dwarves come home and clean out, like, you know, they wash her hair and she's alive again. And they're like, oh, okay, who's giving stuff to Snow White to make her do this? And they're like, yo, girl, make sure you don't talk to any strangers while we're away. Because obviously someone's trying to kill you. But I guess maybe her being 7 years old, maybe not understanding that, like, probably the queen changed her size, like, probably change her size each time. Like, I think I would have to, just so you don't know the same person coming for you to kill you. The queen is determined to kill this little girl, so she comes back one more time. Poison apple, and she's like made half of it poisonous. Talk at the same time while I do my waterline, so I'm using white so to like brighten the eyes. Help brighten that inner eye, the eye white. So we want to have that young, bright ingenue look. So I'm using my white eyeliner. So this is a NYX eyeliner. It's really bold, as you can tell. Can't even get over it. Like, I'm just like, this is so bold. So I'm just gonna do it on the under my lower eyelid waterline, and the other eye waterline I'm gonna do black, just so you can't tell where my lashes end. It's just my preference. And the lashes on top of these, you know, my brow lashes, so I have to make sure it's all uniform. Just my style. And don't worry, we're gonna figure out a way to get this more clean so it doesn't look as crazy as it does right now. So basically, the queen as an old peddler comes back one more time with this poison apple. It's like half it's poison, the other half is regular. And she's like, okay, girlie, let's split this apple. Snow White's like, oh, okay, like, sure, like, why not? Let's split this apple. And of course, the minute she eats this apple, she's out. And then the queen gets away, and she's like, finally, she should be done now. The dwarves come back, and they're all upset because they try washing her hair and checking to see if there's like any binding on her, but nope. This time, old Snow White is actually dead. So, they try and mourn her for like 3 days. And then, they decided to have a funeral for her. And they wanted to bury her, but they can't just because she's so beautiful. So they give her a glass coffin with her name on it, being like, hey, this is where it lays, you know, Princess Snow White, yada yada yada. And basically they have this, you know, kind of like an exhibit almost, and people could come and visit her body. One of the doors would always be watching it at all times. And yeah, it's happened for a long time, apparently, because one day a prince comes and he's like, who is that in the tomb? Who is that? He comes to them, who is that in the tomb? And they're like, that's Snow White, she's dead. He's like, can I buy the casket and her in it? And they're like, no, that's our Snow White. But he's like, I love her and I want to live without her. And first they're like, no, 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 no. Who is this guy? But then, since this man apparently is that desperate, they're just like, okay, whatever, just let him have her. Even though, again, it's just fucking weird. Just fucking weird. But you're gonna just go pick up some chick in a casket and marry her, but that's not my business. You know what? Because I'm poor. Because I am poor. It's not my business. But they're carrying her back to the king's castle, and one of the servants hits a brush and like flips the it flips the coffin open and dislodges the apple from her throat. So she wakes up, she's like, goodness gracious, like, where am I? She's like, what's going on? He's like, I love you and I want you to marry me, and we're gonna go to my castle and live happily ever after. And she's like, oh, okay. And you start planning a wedding. Like, that just sounds like he's gonna beat her ass in the future, but that's me being pessimistic, I guess. But and they, of course, they plan the wedding like super duper fast because that's how everything works in fairy tales. And so the queen hears about it and she gets dressed up to go. She's like, how to look mirror? And they're like, look mirror, like, you look dope. And then she goes to the wedding and she looks there and she's like, I recognize her. That's Snow White. But like, she's grown up now, apparently. It's kind of, I guess like, sometimes that she's grown up now. I don't outright say that because you're like, when she died, she was like 7. So like, how are we? Why are we? You know what I'm saying? But how are we? Why are we? What's going on? This child marriage? Like, that's not funny, but like, just so we're all clear, it's supposed that she is of age by the time she's getting married to the prince. She didn't have it that long. That's just kind of, that's, so we're all clear. So she gets to the wedding and she's like, hold on, I recognize that girl. That's Snow White. And she wants to leave, but then she can't. And a fun thing that happens is that they give the queen, you know, they try to kill Snow White, they give her some iron shoes that have been sitting in a kettle or something, like a fire. And they hand them to her with tongs. And she has to put them on and dance in them. But she dances in them until she dies. And then everyone just goes on happily ever after. After that, they're just like, the queen's dead, happily ever after, yay! But basically, she dances herself to death, which is probably the weirdest thing I've ever heard in my life. Like, what? Which this version, again, is so freaking weird. And it's just very, very strange. Hey guys, I'm back. I finally finished my face and I did my lashes off screen. So of course I'll leave the link those down below. But anyways, the moral of Snow White. So the main theme that most people will go with is vanity, because the queen, you know, is obsessed with her looks and is being most beautiful, which I think is a good moral to take away from the story. On the surface, it does kind of like this. On the surface, the story does kind of seem like shallow. But I mean, think about it. She's like exhibiting 3 out of the 7 deadly sins: envy, wrath, and like pride. Right? Like these are all deadly sins that she's exhibiting just because she wants to be the most beautiful. Which I think I'm like that little bit. Maybe my own personal takeaway was like, hey, like to not like how searching for validation from other people will really drive you insane. To validate yourself is kind of what I picked up from it, just because like who is she trying to impress? Who is she, like this freaking mirror or the freaking world society? Like you're gonna always be beautiful to everybody, so just be yourself and validate yourself is what I put up from it personally. My little mind frame here. But there's also Snow White is apparently also known as a coming of age story because of all the symbolism with the colors. So the white is innocence, red is passion. Also, I think passion is too abstracted as like maybe puberty, you know, blood. And also, you know, black is darkness. So I guess learning to coincide with all these parts of yourself as you get older. Even though our protagonist in most of the story will have the story asleep. So that's one interesting interpretation I found. I think the biggest one was the surprising like spirituality I think a lot of people took away from this story. That kind of goes across various religions and various like practices. And a lot of people were like, okay, like there was some sort of like prophetical meaning of the 7 dwarves because 7 is the number of perfection in the Bible. And I found one of the best, most interesting interpretations of Snow White spiritually. It's called Snow White and the 7 Chakras. You know, chakras from like Eastern medicine. Snow White and the 7 Dwarves is a metaphor for Kundalini energy, which is the mysterious primal forms that lays in our pelvis. So Snow White herself is the manifestation of the working Kundalini energy, meaning that she is like, that's like the purification of the physical, spiritual, and emotional levels to be able to enter the kingdom of God. That's what she represents. She, in essence, being white. That makes sense. The evil step mother represents like our material world and our ego that is, you know, that incarnates like our lives here on earth, and that does try to actually hold us back from the spiritual world. And then 7 dwarves, supposed to be 7 chakras of the body, and then her, I guess, because in the original Grimm story that she does eat all their food and sleep on their beds, it's supposed to be her moving through the chakras. And it's like her cleaning the house is, you know, her cleansing her spirit, purification, and then the goal they search for when they mine is to represent God, or to represent something like maybe like Mena, I believe, as well too. The evil wants to stop her cleaning, so that's why she stops. Like, so that's why she comes by. The evil queen is the material world that comes by while she's cleaning their house while the dwarves are gone. The chakras are gone. See, to stop her cleaning, stop her purification. And then the poison apple is like temptations of the world, and again, like you have the reference to Adam and Eve, and been the poison apple that got them out of the Garden of Eden. And then you have her sleeping in the glass coffin, so it's like a transparent, it supposed to be like somewhat, it says somewhat transparent ego, and then also like her kundalini, waiting in preparation for a God-centered life, or waiting for preparation for the end of the purification. So it's like the castle of the king. So because the prince comes and picks her up and takes her away. So some people interpret it as like the king, like the princess like Jesus, or like, you know, he's like taking her to the kingdom of God to be his castle in this sense. So that was an interesting interpretation. I'm like, hopefully, yeah, like I guess he's supposed to be some sort of, in a sense, they see him as some sort of messianic figure. Which I don't really like. No, I don't know if I like that all too much, personally, but it's interesting. It's interesting. And then I think it's like the red hot shoes that the queen wears at the end while she's dancing to death. It's supposed to be some sort of purification of her, but I guess it's like, you know, she dances till she dies. So it's like the idea that like, so like, you know, since she's in the material world, she's our ego. Our ego dies with our bodies. I mean, that's kind of like the meaning that I took away from it. And yeah, that is the surprising spirituality of Snow White. You didn't think it was that deep. I didn't really when I was little. I just enjoyed the singing and like the songs and the music. But this is fascinating. So tell me down below what was most interesting for you to find out about this story. And also, I'm gonna end this one with a song. I'm gonna do a little edition of One Day My Prince Will Come, and hopefully not bust your eardrums. But until next time, bye. Someday my prince will come. Someday I'll find my love and tell the moment will be with the prince of my dreams comes to me.